Hello, hello, hello. I am John. This is my show, A Sports Reckoning. And let me see, I was going to pull up this picture. Okay. So, yeah, I was watching Flippin' Steve's new video, and hopefully that works and stuff. My videos are so bad now and shit that that's to explain why I'm moving to going away and shit. But yeah, so Flippin' Steve, he had mentioned that he might vote for me for the YouTube Hall of Fame and shit, right? And then I really didn't know how I felt about it because I don't feel like I'm part of community and shit, right? And obviously part of it's my fault, but whatever. There's just long explanations, too much and shit, but whatever. But it's so I was like, whatever. But I was gonna mention to him, it's like, well, fuck him. If you gave me an honorable mention, that would be great. If you just named all your votes, and then if you gave me like an honorable mention, that would be cool. And then it was funny because he was saying I think that's what he did. He didn't upload the video, but I think the video that he was making, I think that's what he actually was doing. He was gonna make his video and then he was gonna give me an honorable mention. I was like, yeah, see, we think alike and shit, right? And so that was cool. And, I thought this zigzag with Cheech and Chong was hilarious. It's super cool. Like, there's no doubt that like that's the kind of thing. It's like if I saw it, I wouldn't need to know whatever the price is. Like, oh, $100. I don't know what he paid for it and shit, right? But that'd be the kind of thing that's like, oh shit, $100. Yeah, I'd definitely rather have that than $100 and shit, right? Because it's cool. It's something that's just it doesn't have to be. That's one of these things with collectibles. Super really cool collectibles don't have to be extremely valuable. And there's all kinds of stuff that you can collect, right? But people in the collection world somehow, I don't know how this has taken place. It's like, how come people only respect really valuable things, or what? It's like, dude, what about just really fucking cool shit, right? It's just really cool, right? So I mean, having some old zigzag pack signed by Cheech and Chong, yeah, that's cool. It's just cool and shit, right? It's something that every person I've ever known I think is cool as fucking shit. Cheech and Chong, I can't tell you how fucking hard I laughed and shit. The first time I watched the first Cheech Chong, I guess it's Up in Smoke. That's what he kept referring to. And then he showed the picture from it, right? When Cheech and Chong meet each other, where they first meet and shit. And that whole part, that first part where they meet and then they get high and shit and the acid and then like the police and your license, isn't it on the bumper? Shit, that part. Oh my god. I fucking just it was like just fucking hilarious and shit, right? And but I liked Cheech and Chong. I like a lot of their movies and stuff. And what it's funny because the Tommy Chong, when I've done my Michael Jackson story, this is how it's a small world and shit, right? Because it turns out that Tommy Chong was an actual guitar player. He was signed to Motown, right? Tommy Chong was actually a Motown artist. He was in a band called Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers, which the band that is technically accredited for discovering the Jacksons and bringing them to Motown is Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers. That's the band that Tommy Chong was in, right? So Tommy Chong, because I've heard him in interviews too, he said, yeah, I met Michael. He met Michael when he was young, before they went to Motown. So Tommy Chong knew Michael Jackson before they went to Motown, right? It's one of these things when you actually get into the details, and it's real life, and there's just so many more stories and shit. There's just so much more going on. And so we'll get into that. There's always so many things I want to talk about. Today is a rainy day. Oh, yeah. So it's a rainy day today, right? And it's a really good day for just like feels like making a video. It's crazy out here in the desert because we got this rain. They've got that Pineapple Express thing they're talking about. Like California's getting pounded, but it's coming up into the desert. It's hitting us now, and so I think we're gonna get some rain today, and then we're gonna have a few days off, and then we're gonna get hit by another storm that's gonna be like multiple days of rain, which is gonna. They've got it raining all the way up in Vegas up until like Saturday, the Saturday of the Super Bowl. Like for the 4 or 5 days before the Super Bowl, it's gonna rain. And Vegas floods bad. The roads there, it's like all valleys and shit, right? It's not built for the rain and shit. It's really not. So yeah, Vegas gets bad flooding, and some of the casinos they'll flood really bad too when it rains. So I'm expecting they're going to get hit bad. It's going to be it might be a mess, but it's like almost like washing away all the sins of Vegas and shit's like God raining on them and shit. Because I'm very very scared that the 49ers win, and it's a symbolization of the Illuminati's power of this new world order that we're moving into, because I've been talking about this. One of the things about my videos too, I feel like you've got to be lucky enough to have been in my presence at the time. It's like I don't want my shit to always, I don't always want my shit to always be readily available for everybody to see all around the world. I kind of want to be an experience that you had to be there in that moment in time to experience me. I kind of, that's one of the reasons why I kind of remove my, there's a lot of reasons. See, it's when I say things too, it's never just one reason. It's multiple reasons. There's always, but like one of the reasons I kind of like to be an experience, a moment in time, and you had to be there to experience me. And then that's it. If you didn't get it, then you don't get to see those videos. You didn't get to experience it. So if you weren't there in that moment in time, you know, that's how you got to experience me. So I kind of like that aspect of it too. But okay, so I got so many things going on in my head, but let me get back to before I get off of the San Francisco 49ers. So one of the things I've been talking about with the Niners is that the Super Bowl all-time winners list, at the top you have the Patriots with 6 wins and you have the Steelers with 6 wins. And the 2 teams underneath that is the Niners and the Cowboys, both have 5 wins. And so what I was saying is like, well, if either the Niners and the Cowboys, if one of them wins, you're going to have that completion of that 666 on the top of the list of the Super Bowl champions list. And it's just like, it's one of these things like, how could that happen randomly? There's weird things about like random events, you know, chance occurrences, which do happen. But then there's this other stuff that where it looks completely random, but you see, no, it's under like controlled, intelligent design. It's under some form of like intelligent design. And like when I see the list of the Super Bowl thing, to me, it looks like a form of intelligent design. You know, we always talk about fixing games and stuff. There was I think it was the movie, the Speed Racer movie. I think that was a Go Speed Racer Go. You drive in the car. I remember this old cartoon. And I think they made a movie about it. And it was real. If you people haven't done like drugs, like hallucinogenic drugs and stuff, but it's like one of those movies that's really like trippy. It's like if you haven't done the drug, it's one of those movies you could watch and it's like, well, that's kind of what it's like doing drugs. Just kind of watch that movie. Like I would give reference to something like Pink Floyd's The Wall. I would give a movie like that. It's like, oh, you don't need to do drugs. Just watch Pink Floyd's The Wall and watch the movie. It's just like fucking being on drugs and shit. That's what it's like and shit, right? But you don't really understand it until you've done the drugs and shit, right? So, okay, what was I? Oh, yeah. But so it's Go Speed Racer. The race car driver, he's talking to the owner of like the race car company, and he's saying, oh man, that one race like back in 58, whatever it was, right? You know, people talk about like great matchups and Super Bowls and stuff like that, right? And he's like, oh yeah, that one race and then the owner guy tells him it was fixed. We've controlled both drivers and shit, right? They do what we tell them to do, right? And you're sitting here as a fan thinking that it's real and they're out there battling, and the owner's saying, dude, it's fixed. They do what we tell them to do, right? So there's this weird dynamic of the shit, how it goes on and shit, right? And so I'm really scared. And just so you know, like I fucking busted out on the last ticket, the last playoffs. Okay, my last bet, I had Chiefs money line and Lions money line. I have this issue where I'm trying to be like, there's like, you're always evolving on your bets. There's like, I got to move to this. And there's a thing about me saying, if I do have the ability to be a professional gambler, one of the things I have to do is don't take the points. You bet the win, bet the teams to win. If you can't pick the winners of the games, then you can't pick winners. That's kind of like a way I feel. You've got to pick the winners, which includes betting big underdogs and betting them to win. Like, and that's your money. You bet, that's what you bet. Like, you got to be able to go for it and shit, right? So I'm like there's like referring to the movie Tin Cup, right? I'm like a tin cup where I got to go for it. I don't give a fuck. You know, it's like the fucking gods jinxed me and they blew the wind and I was there. I had it, right? And so like that's the way I am. I constantly feel like I'm the best. I am the best. I know I'm the best. I could fucking make this shot. I'm not fucking laying up. I'm going for it, right? So I kind of got that problem in me. I'm always like wanting to go for it, but I'm like the tin cup. I just never achieve. I don't ever achieve greatness, right? And so like I'm like that tin cup. I am the best, but I'm also a loser and shit, right? Weird dynamic fucking life and shit, right? It's life. It's funny. It's life's brutal. It's funny. It's interesting. It's been an interesting journey and shit, right? This human existence and shit experience we're going through and shit. So, okay, so, but yeah, so you see, like I get confused on what I'm talking about and shit. I'm trying to talk so much things. So that's what they, when you get on here and you have so many things you want to talk about, then you get lost in fucking space and shit because I'm thinking my mind's wandering and shit, right? But we're getting back to the Super Bowl thing with the 666. Okay, so if Frisco wins, you're going to have that completion of the 666. And right now, it's like, look at the world. And so people that don't know, they've constantly been, there's a thing called the Agenda 2030 thing that they're saying that the New World Order people, the people that are really in charge, because there's, and it seems like these people fight with each other, but they're really working together. And it's really weird. It's really weird. Things are just weird. Things are really fucking tricky. It's hard to know who's real. And that's why I call everybody fake and stuff, because there's this essence and understanding of what I get is understanding of me trying to be as real of a person as I can be. And so when I see people and they're doing stuff, I can spot, well, you're not being real. What you're doing is this other shit, right? You might be a good person and all this stuff, but you're not like real. You ain't real, motherfucker. You ain't real. You don't get it. You're not like me. You're not doing what I'm doing. We're not here having the same fucking experience and shit, right? We see things totally different. We're watching the same show, but I'm seeing it completely fucking different. We're seeing different fucking shit, right? Which last night, see, I always go, there's just so many things. Like when I watch stuff and what I absorb from these movies, it's crazy. But last night I was watching World War Z, which I've seen it a few times and stuff, right? And so I already know that there's one part that I really, really am attracted to. And so I like to watch, when I see that stuff, I like to watch stuff like that 50, 100 times because I always learn more every time I watch it again. I see more and I learn more and I hear it. It's the same exact words, but I hear it different every fucking time. There's something new that I missed. I didn't hear that part. I didn't go into that. So I like to hear that shit 50, 100 times and think about it 50, 100 different ways and have more thoughts. And it constantly keeps giving. The gift that keeps fucking giving and shit, right? And so, yeah, and the part what they were talking about, like when he's talking about nature's a bitch, there was the scientist guy when they were going the first time to go see where they were tracking down the patient zero on the World War Z. And there was the scientist guy, and he was young. And then the Brad Pitt's character, he's like the more advanced, like sophisticated guy. And but when the kid was speaking, you're like, just like, whoa, this kid knows what the fuck he's talking about. And he's very intellectual, insightful about his field of study. He knows what he's talking about. And it didn't matter that he was young. He was the right one. What he was saying was the real fucking shit. And it's part about spotting. He says, you got to be able to spot the breadcrumbs for the clues that they actually are. There's like a part in that he's talking about that. You've got to be able to see the breadcrumbs for the clues that they actually are. And that's a big part because with my Michael Jackson story, it just intertwined so much. And the actual experience I got, because there was actually a part too, later in the movie, there's a part where Brad Pitt, when they're in Jerusalem and the zombies have come over the wall and they're just totally rushing everything. But Brad Pitt sees, because first he had seen the one old dirty bastard guy at the original place with the gimpy leg and shit, right? And he didn't know what it was, but they said, yeah, 7 Zeeks turned all around him, but they had no time for his fucking ass and shit, right? And so that it was a breadcrumb, but he couldn't see it for what it was at that moment. But what it was a breadcrumb, and it went into his head. And this is this process of how things happen and shit, right? You get a piece of information that's going to turn into something else, but you don't know what it is. But you got to keep that information in your head, right? And it evolves. So later, when he's in Jerusalem, then he sees a kid who's got a shaved head, which they given it the appearance of like a cancer victim is what he's looking like, and all the zombies are attacking everybody, but this kid who's got the shaved head, so it looks like he's got some kind of disease, the zombies all run around him. And there was an old man, the same kind of thing. And he saw the zombies all ran around that guy. And then it started to click in his head. He starts to see the clues, right? And so that's that experience of what had happened with me with the Michael Jackson thing when I was watching this movie, Lady Sings the Blues. And mine was a direct thing because Diana Ross was literally, she like morphed into Michael Jackson. So when she was up there singing, I literally was seeing Michael Jackson. Like it looked like Michael Jackson in drag, right? It was Diana Ross singing, but I saw Michael Jackson. And so that's why that it was a breadcrumb, but I had to realize it for the clue of what it was. The clue of what it was, though, I had to understand. I got to get to that point and say, "Whoa, oh wait, could that? Because what I just saw, could that mean that the true story in the relationship between Michael Jackson and Diana Ross, could it be that she was his actual mother, right? Because I already had a history of that they had to relate that there was a history between them." But it took years and years and years. This was about 6 months after Michael Jackson died. And because what had happened was I got key breadcrumbs that I didn't know what they were, but it was at the Michael Jackson Memorial. 2 key breadcrumbs that Diana Ross did not show up, because I was the person at the time when that happened. I was going, how the fuck could Diana Ross not show up to Michael Jackson's Memorial? That was the one, because everybody was there. Michael Jackson Memorial, remember, that was at the Staples Center. And because they had those 2 other big, I know they had Nipsey Hussle, and Kobe Bryant at the Staples Center. They had their funerals there, right? But Michael's was first. So that was the first, like, monster funeral, massive, like, besides like a president type of thing, you know, some kind of dignitary, like stuff like that. But as far as a person that was like a normal real world person or whatever, the Michael Jackson's funeral being at the Staples Center, it was a big fucking event, right? So, and everybody was there, everybody supporting Michael and stuff, right? Everything, right? But Diana Ross didn't go. And I was like, so when she didn't go, I was just instantly like, what the fuck? What? And nobody ever was talking about, and because it was a big, much bigger deal, because just prior to that, they had released Michael Jackson's will, and Diana Ross had been named as a guardian of Michael Jackson's children. Oh, I had to grab my hat. If I don't put my hat on, see, my head gets warm sometimes, so I'll take my hat off for a few minutes. But then if I take it off a few minutes, instantly my nose starts getting like cold and shit. So I had to put my hat back on. Okay, so yeah, so Diana Ross had been named as a guardian to Michael Jackson's children in Michael's will. Like, her name was in there. The only other Jackson was in there was Catherine Jackson. Besides that, there wasn't any Jacksons in the fucking will, but Diana Ross was in it, right? So I started getting these clues. Diana Ross was in the will, but then she doesn't go to the memorial. That was it. And I was like, how come nobody's calling out Diana Ross for? Because she's like one of the people that's like, that had to, I always say about that, it's like, dude, she didn't have a choice not to go. She fucking had to be there. She's one of the people that had to be there, right? The only thing possible that could have stopped her is if she had a concert, an obligation, but it was so significant that I would have think it could have even rose to the occasion where she postpones her fucking concert, because that's where I'm saying where she had to be. It was at that kind of level that she fucking had to be there, right? And it's during the daytime, so most of the times you could go to that thing, they jump on a private jet, take you to wherever you go quick, and make it if you got a concert. But what I'm just saying, whatever it was, she fucking had to be there. I couldn't understand, and I couldn't understand that the people were not attacking her for really not being there, right? But then there was a separation. It was really weird when Michael Jackson's memorial happened. The very, very first thing, all of a sudden the crowd's there, everybody's like there. The casket had not been brought out yet. So they hadn't started the memorial yet. Then all of a sudden, boom, it starts, right? The casket hasn't been brought out yet, but all of a sudden something happens and it starts. And what happened? So this was the very, very first thing that happened at Michael Jackson's memorial. The very first person to speak officially, the first person that showed his face, was Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson comes out and he's reading a letter from Diana Ross. And in the letter, one of the things she says is, she says, Michael was part of the fabric of my life. She says, what she says, goddamn, see, I skipped over that part. I think she says, I wanted to be there at the Staples Center, but I couldn't be, but I'm in there in my heart and stuff. She says, Michael was a personal treasure of mine, part of my personal life, part of the fabric of my life. She says, in ways that I can't explain. And she says, I wanted to be there at the Staples Center, but she says this. She says, I've decided to pause and be silent, and that feels right for me, right? So so she just told you that she decided to pause and be silent. The reason that she couldn't attend the memorial, because she had something inside of this. She wanted to speak and say something, and she was so afraid that she was going to say something inappropriate that she took a step back. She decided to pause and be silent, and she didn't go. So that was the reason she didn't go, because there was something she was afraid of saying. So I'm saying when this is happening, I'm absorbing it, but I'm not understanding what it is, right? But these were these breadcrumbs that I had been fed. So then 6 months later, when I'm watching The Lady Sings the Blues movie and I see Diana Ross and she morphs into Michael, and now I was capable, because I had had these other buildup of these breadcrumbs, but I didn't really realize them for the clues they were until I had seen that moment. And then everything just came together, and I was able to ask the question, oh my God, is Diana Ross actually Michael Jackson's mother? Could that be possible? Because I had known that they looked alike, so there was always more. So I already had enough clues built up from all the history that at that moment, boom, I was able to ask that simple, incredibly simple, it's just a simple question. Could she be his mother? But that question, it's one of these things that seems so simple. It's just a few words, just asking a simple question. But it is monumentally fucking difficult for anybody to ever ask that question. It was so hard for that question to ever be asked. It's weird, you know? And that's why they just put it right in everybody's face, because everybody was like, oh, they're having sex. They could think of every single thing they could, but they couldn't think of possibly that she was actually his mother. Then I actually went and did a real investigation. You know, and I found out that Diana found out exactly where she was at, what she was doing at that exact time where Michael would have been conceived. And what I find out is that Diana's living like 3 doors down from Smokey Robinson. Diana's best friends with Smokey Robinson's niece, who lives in Smokey Robinson's house. They live together because Smokey Robinson's mother has passed away. Smokey's living in the house with no parents. He's got no parents living there. His mother has passed away, and his father doesn't live there. He's being raised by his oldest sister, who's 17 years older. She's got children that are like the age of Diana and shit, right? And that's how Diana's friends with her, Sharon Burstyn. And, you know, so then I find out that story, that Diana is living right down the street from Smokey, and she could sleep in his house because she's friends with his niece who lives with him, and she's totally in love with him. Right? So I find out that, and then it clicks to me, oh, that's why it was Smokey who's reading the letter at the memorial, right? And then you start going and you start finding all the stuff, and then it's like you piece it and you go, you track it, and you track, and you find the stuff and you see where it lines up, you explain it, everything. It just keeps going. So now it's like I've already seen the breadcrumbs. Now it's everything is just clues for me, right? I'm not seeing breadcrumbs now. Every time I see what would have been a breadcrumb that was laid behind, I don't see it as a breadcrumb now. I know what a clue looks like, right? And it's bam, that's not a breadcrumb. That's a clue that was left behind intentionally by these people to make sure that the story got exposed at some time in the future and shit, right? Which is Michael Jackson's big journey. The reason he wants to become the greatest artist and stuff is this is what I talk about, like him as being like theater, the theatrics and the theater and the art. And in the end, the star's got to die, the hero's got to die or whatever, you know? And that's why in the end I say, that's why I committed suicide, right? I'm able to come and say that conclusion now because I understand the psychology and the mentality of Michael Jackson and stuff. He fucking killed himself at the end because that's why he said, this is it. Because there had to be an ending to this play. His life is a living play, and he was living it, and he understood as being an artist and stuff, he understood there had to be a closure. There had to be an ending. And the ending, that's what I'm saying. It's like with how the things work out. No, it's intelligent design. This is not a random event. It's not just a random event that he's there with the doctor who's a big fan. And Michael's the one who ordered the doctor to get propofol. See, Michael knew that doctor had access to propofol because he was a brain surgeon. So Michael knew that doctor had access. This is how shit goes. People are always trying to blame the doctor. It's like, dude, the doctor wasn't pushing propofol onto Michael. He's like, hey, like people think it's like a drug dealer and shit, like like a drug dealer. Hey, man, you want to try some of this and shit? It wasn't like that. Michael wanted propofol. Michael met that doctor, saw the doctor was a fan, which Michael then knew he could control the guy, right? And now he's going to pay him, put him on his payroll. He's going to have control over him, and he's going to tell that doctor, I want propofol. The doctor is the one then went and got the shit from Michael because technically he's allowed to do that. A doctor is allowed to administer drugs to his patient. People think that that's like inappropriate. It's like, no, a doctor is allowed to give drugs to a patient. Now, he's not allowed to administer propofol outside of that environment of the hospital with proper, the proper rules and shit. That was wrong for him to do that stuff. But he's allowed to give them those drugs. He's allowed to experiment on them. That's what a lot of people don't understand. It's called medical practice. They practice medicine. It's not we know every rule and we follow the books and stuff. No, it's medical practice. They're allowed to practice on you. People don't get it. It's like, dude, they can use experimental drugs. They can do stuff that's not so like approved. It has to be technically approved and shit, whatever. But there's ways that they can do it. Once it's approved, they're allowed to experiment on how it's used and shit, right? And that's what Michael was doing and shit, right? It's really, there's a lot of shit going on there. But so that's why I say is how Michael killed himself, right? Is to get a closure, because if he doesn't kill himself, I don't get the information about Diana Ross being in his will. I don't get the information at the memorial and with Diana Ross not showing up, those kind of things, right? There's things that had to happen. I believe that Michael understood that with his death, and his death had to come in some kind of a fashion that was dramatic, because it needs to be dramatic so it can have a big symbolism, because Michael knows that people start nitpicking and they start looking into stuff, right? And Michael understood that it's like, okay, when I die, then they're going to go back and start looking at all of my stuff. And then hopefully somebody will see the truth and the message, the breadcrumbs of what he had left behind, which is what you find out in a lot of the songs, which is like Diana Ross is Billie Jean, that Michael was the kid in the song. When you get to the truth of the investigation, like what I've done, when you see it, it's just amazing, right? It's an incredible experience. But it's also like bad for my psyche too, of what I've had to go through, of my also experience with the human population. Like my experience with the Michael Jackson thing has been amazing, just like so incredible. So like me, just like so honored that I was able to see that and have this experience. I'm like so honored that I was able to be like the person who did that and shit, right? But after that, whatever else comes after that and anything else, I don't know. And how it's going to happen, am I going to appreciate it? I don't know. I don't know anything. But I know that that part has been really cool and shit, right? Okay. I could just start talking. I'm going to show some cards and shit, right? And that's kind of, Flip and Steve was talking about showing cards and stuff. And it's like, okay, let me show you a few other things that I haven't shown and stuff. I have a full couple things, and I'm going to show those in a minute and stuff. And but I just wanted to conclude with the Frisco thing, with the 666, is that we're all the New World Order, the Illuminati stuff, the stuff that's coming on and stuff, right? And to me, that symbolism of the 666 on the Super Bowl, and it looks like we're moving into like what's the World War III is coming. We're on the verge. It's about to break out. Total destruction, massiveness, chaos, and shit, right? Because they talk about that the guide stones. Was it the Virginia guide stones? I can't remember where it was at. There was those stones that now there was made out of granite. And on those stones, it had said that the human population is going to be reduced to like 500 million people. It needs to be under 500 million people for all time. There was a thing written on there that everybody was like, whoa, because recently those got blown up too. Those are gone now. Somebody blew it up, literally. Somebody blew up when they destroyed it. Now they've been removed and shit, right? But so there was a thing with that too that people are wondering. It's like, because there's this thing, and like, so you get crazy, but it's a thing about where like, Satan feels like if he tells you what's going to happen, if he tells you this is what's going on and you still go through it, then Satan doesn't feel guilty or any blame. It's like a relieving of the burden on himself, so he doesn't feel like he's bad. There's some weird trick that's at play that goes on, right? But they feel like they've got to show it to you. They show it to you, and then they feel like, well, we told you what was going to happen, you idiot. This was not hidden. We weren't lying to you. We weren't misleading you. We clearly showed you over and over. This is what's really going on, right? So it looks to me like there's the symbolism thing that's taking place right now, that we look like we're moving into that thing. And if the Frisco wins and the 666 thing lines up with the Super Bowl stuff, to me, it's just like, ugh, right? So I don't want Frisco to win. So as far as cheering for a team, now I'm not going to be betting the Super Bowl because I busted out, like I said, on the last game and shit, right? So it's not worth me to invest on the one game and shit, right? I'd have to make a large bet, which I'm not going to do and shit. It's just, I'm done with that for this year. I probably broke even as far as my bets this year goes. I probably broke even and shit, which technically gambling, breaking even is like winning. That's like, you won. You did really good. But actually, I look at all the opportunities and things I missed, all the stuff. But it's the kind of stuff like when you see like the Lions, they totally beat the shit out of the Niners, totally dominate them. There's no way I lose that. If I'm the coach, it's impossible for me to lose that game. There's no way it's like, oh my God, there's just no way that I could possibly. And I look at the calls he made. There's a few calls where it's like, you cannot do that. You don't know what football is. You don't play football. But now that they've implemented this kind of techniques that they can do anything in the game. There is no more strategy that's like, you can't do that. Now they can do whatever the fuck they want, which makes it easier for them to fix stuff and control it. It's just really weird. But the players have to still go out there and perform. And so I really appreciate the high level of athletic ability and what these guys do. They go out there and they fight. They go to war. They're out there going to war. There's no, when people think that it's fixed, it's like, dude, it's not all the players. All you've got to do is have few coaches, the one head referee. You don't need to have all the referees. You just need the one head guy. And like a couple key players and shit. You don't need everybody and stuff. It's just a few key things here and there, and you can control the games. Generally, you can control, make things. And if they have to, the officials will people will do really crazy things. Like the official will do something really stupid, or a coach will make a really bad call, or a player will throw an interception or drop a ball. At that moment in time, the thing that has to happen to get it to go the way they want, it will fucking happen. And I believe in that shit. It will happen, and the game will come out the way they want it to, which is coming up to the Super Bowl now with the Niners. Like I said, okay, remember, this is a rematch. This just happened a few years ago, which was actually like right there too with the with all the COVID shit. It's coming right. We're on that same timeline of what's going on. There's a lot of shit going. There's so many stories I could always tell and shit, right? But so I'm worried about the Niners winning the Super Bowl and completing that 666 thing right as we're on the verge of World War III, and they want the world and the total destruction of population so they can move to the Agenda 2030, where they're going to have total domination. My feeling is that after the year 2030, the chances that you're going to be able to ever be smart enough to understand the mind of God, because you're going to be so absorbed and total consumed with the controlling environments of the satanic agenda and the control, and you're not going to be able to fucking think anymore, or you're not going to be able to understand that this stuff goes like, because once you're born into a world and you don't know what's going on, if they don't tell you whatever happened, you don't know shit about anything. You don't know. You know what they tell you and shit, right? And they know those people are masters of mind control, manipulation, and human fucking instincts and environments and human nature, all of that stuff. They're masters of that shit. They know how to control shit, right? They know what the fuck they're doing. They're just, it's like that. So I'm just like really scared. If the Niners win, it's bad. It is a bad fucking symbol. But if I was going to go bet the game, I'd bet the Niners. That's just fucked up shit. If I was betting it, I'd be betting for it to happen and shit, right? So this fucked up shit. So I have some cards that I've bought recently too. Plus I have this big tub of cards and stuff, and I once in a while go through and pull stuff out. And I went through it the other day and I pulled out some more good stuff. I found some stuff. Like I'll just show you like an instant quick card. So this is I believe it's 2004 from just double thinking in my head. I have to double check it, but I think it was when I looked it up. But so like this was 2004, I believe. I could be wrong and stuff, but I think it was. I can't even see the small print. But I think when I looked it up and stuff, I think it was 2004. But it was a Topps Chrome Chipper Jones. Now, I fucking loved Chipper Jones. So there's a refractor and shit, So I was looking for more refractors because I didn't even know. Like when I was looking through them, you can't always see them when they're in the booklet. You got to catch it right to see the refractor and stuff, right? So I went through and really, really looked to see, okay, what refractors do I have in there? What cards do I have in there, right? So this is one that I pulled out of there because I loved, as a baseball player, like Chipper Jones is definitely like one of my favorite all-time players. He was so fucking good. What a good, it's funny too. It's like looking at that, it looks like he's in the outfield, but it's like, I think Chipper Jones played third base like even as a rookie, right when he came in the league. Because I remember, I think it was like his rookie year and shit, and they were like in the playoffs and stuff. And I remember he like took a ball off the mouth, and he had like a busted lip and shit. So he was playing, he had like a busted lip and shit, right? But all those years when Chipper Jones was playing, like the Braves were great. Chipper Jones was just fucking awesome. So like this card, like it's not his rookie and shit, right? But for me, it's like, well, this is cool. It's just a cool Chipper Jones card, and it's probably maybe worth $5 or something, maybe, I don't know, 5, maybe if it's 10, if it's lucky, it's not worth a lot of money and shit. But to me, I don't have a Chipper Jones refractor and shit. So to me, when I found this, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's a fucking fuck yeah card. Hell yeah. Because I like cards too. And I like the Chipper Jones, people that were, players that I enjoyed when I was young and shit, right? So I'm going to show you some of the stuff I got recently and then some of the cards I pulled out. So this is just something that I had bought recently. It's a Sports Flicks 1986, The Rookies 1986 Magic Motion. So I'm sure most of you people know what Sports Flicks cards look like and stuff. So I'm not going to pull them out of here and stuff, right? But like this box, right? Brand new box, you know, out of a case and stuff, brand new. So every card's basically perfect, and they're all perfect. This box is like something like $15, and it's like, dude, you get Bo Jackson in there, you know, Barry Bonds, Will Clark, and shit, like all the good rookies and shit. Because so this is 86, but it's got all the rookies that would be known as like the 87 rookies and shit, right? Whatever. But yeah, so it's got this 86 box has all the Bo Jackson, you know, Barry Bonds, and it's like $15, and you get they're all the rookies. It's all of them, all the good ones. It's everybody that you'd want, right? In this box for like $15. It was something like $15. This is the kind of box that's like, dude, this is the kind of shit like if you want to be like a card dealer at a card show, right? And you want to expose people, or you know, it's like, dude, okay, well, like if this box, like let's say this box is $15, okay, well, buy 10 of them and just give a kid if you want to give. So you spent like $150 if you want to do like a charity and give out some presents and introduce kids to cards. They don't have to be super special. They're just really cool fucking cards. They're rookies of really good players, and they're all Sports Flicks cards. They're really fucking cool. So to get a box like that, like if you're a kid at a card show and somebody, would you rather have like some kind of modern like card that's like worth $15, or would you rather have the box? Like that's what I'm saying. Well, if somebody giving you a present, would you rather have like a card think about a card that's worth $15? It's probably nothing that special, right? Would you rather give that to kid, or would you rather give them a box like this? The whole fucking box, right? Of just cool fucking cards. And like you would tell the kid, now those cards aren't really valuable, but they're cool. They're cool cards. You know, you tell them they're cool cards, like something like that. So I bought that box. But that box. Now this here, this one I'm going to show you. This is these are really cool. I had the Diana Ross in this set, but I actually, you know what's funny? It's a funny story. One of the first things I bought when I came into eBay and I was buying stuff, one of the first things I bought was this set of cards, but it got lost in the mail, right? So I never got it. I had never got the whole set. And then I forgot what it was. I remember seeing it, and I remember seeing like something that I didn't know what it was, but it just looked cool, right? And and then I bought it, but then I didn't get it, so I was like, shoot, you know, I got my refund and everything, but then I didn't know what it was, so it was a while, so I had to go back and find it again and find what it was, and figure it out what it was, and then so what it is this is the back, they're playing cards, and it says Sony tape. It's I got a whole set. I got the whole set, and it's just the face the numbered cards. You know, like there's the Queen of Clubs and like the Ace. There's the Michael Jackson. That's the one when I was buying it because the Michael Jackson. I wanted the Michael Jackson, right? So and then I'd seen a Diana Ross. Like so there's a Diana Ross. I had bought my hands in the light there. So I had bought a solo Diana Ross. I already have a regular one of that, just a separate raw card. I bought the Diana Ross, but I couldn't get the Michael, and the Michael one too. There was a guy who had the Michael for sale, but it was like one of those things that didn't. I had to punch in a little different description, and then I could have found the Michael because the Michael sold for a single for like under $5 with shipping. I was mad because I'd seen that it had sold, but I didn't see that it was listed. It was like one of those situations. It was like, dude, I was looking for that card. I was looking for it. And I couldn't find it. The next thing you know, I see in the sold that one sold like a couple days before. And I was like, I was looking for that thing. What the fuck, right? I was looking for the Michael. And then I've been looking for the set, but the sets, the people wanted like more. They were too expensive. They wanted like $40 or $50 for a set. And then they didn't look like they were in that good condition. So you just wait, you know? You keep checking on it and you wait around. Then once in a while, the one you want will come up. So I found a good set. Probably got it for like $20 to $30, something like that and shit, right? Or something. So this is it's a Sony tape Pop Music Stars, and maybe it's called Sony Tape Music Star playing cards. Something like that would be what it's listed. Sony Tape playing cards. If you put Sony Tape playing cards, something will come up that'll tell you then the actual whole description of what the rest of the name is and stuff, right? But so that's the back of the card, Sony Tape. Okay, so there's a couple jokers. There's a couple jokers in there. I'm going to show you these. I'm going to show you all of these because they're so cool. All right, so these were the jokers, right? And then so here we go. Ace of Spades is Sting. And then the King of Spades is Boy George. Queen of Spades, I'm not sure who that is. I probably know her name if they said it, but I'm not sure right now who that is. Everybody else is like really famous and stuff, right? So then Jack of Spades, Elton John. Isn't that fucking cool as hell? Just like I'm saying, this set of cards was like once I had seen them and I seen all of them, I was like, I'm gonna get a set of those. Like for this is what I'm saying too about things that are out there. The fact that I could get this set of cards for like $20 or $30 with these cards, damn, they're fucking cool as fuck, right? Queen of Clubs, Tina Turner. Here we go. Ace of Diamonds, Michael Jackson. So sweet. Yeah, so the reason I bought this originally because it had a Michael and a Diana. That's a thing that I like is like having Michael and Diana in the same set is really cool for me. King of Diamonds, Stevie Wonder. I really like this set. I think it's fucking so cool and shit. Queen of Diamonds, Olivia Newton-John. I think that's the physical. She had that video. The physical. Let's get into physical. It looks like I know she got like that. It looks like she got the headband. It looks like it's from kind of from that physical video and shit. That video I think was like banned. It's nothing crazy and stuff. But back in the day, like that's raunchy. Jack of Diamonds kind of looks familiar, but I'm not 100% positive. I'm not sure exactly who that is either. I'm sure I know it if they said who it was, but I'm not positive who that is. Okay, then we got Ace of Clubs is David Bowie. Sick. These cards are really, really cool. It's a really cool set of cards and shit. We got the King of Clubs, Mick Jagger. Look at his lips. Oh, that is so funny and shit, right? That's hilarious. That's a freaking killer card. Uh, Jack of Clubs is oh, I love this guy too. His name's just not coming to me right now. I totally know his name. I love this guy. He's got a lot of songs that I really, really like and shit. Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart. Yeah, Rod Stewart. I like a lot of Rod Stewart songs. He's got a lot of songs I like. So yeah, Rod Stewart. Here's Ace of Hearts is Paul McCartney. Right, so real big stars, you know. And then you get the King of Hearts, Elvis Presley. Just super cool, you know, having the whole set. Like I said, to be able to get a set like this, you know, and Queen of Hearts, Diana Ross, you know, to be able to get the whole set for like something like $30. It's one of those things. It's just like you don't got to spend a lot of money to get really cool shit. And Jack of Hearts is let's hear from the Commodores is in the freaking Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie. Okay, so that's it's like I said, it's just the face cards. The other cards, like if you get the 7s and the 8s and stuff, they're just regular in this set. Just regular. Okay, so we put that away. This one, now I didn't. This one I must have the Michael Jackson somewhere else, but I just wanted to show you a couple of these. This is probably from like around like 1984. It's like a Life magazine. It says Life magazine remembers, and it has Life cereal, right? So just sometimes you can find these in the original package and shit too, but there was just different cards. But this one, okay, so my first car was a 1959 VW Bug, right? My VW Bug, that was my first car. Now this one, if you know Bugs, over here you can see the back in the window. It's called a split oval window, right? So the split ovals, those are old because mine was a 59, and then it's like the oval windows more like 50, more like 57. They got the oval windows. I'm not positive exactly, but it's more like that. And then the split oval windows are even before that, the early 50s stuff. You get the split ovals, right? So that's like, this is old Bugs. That probably would tell me on here. It'd probably tell me what year it was. So there's all these Bugs here. But each one is a split oval window. And it's one of these, dude, it's like split oval windows. Those are like when you know about Bugs, it's like, dude, split ovals, those are classic cars shit, right? Those Bugs and shit. So those are all split oval windows. So for me, like I said, because I was into VW Bugs, my first car was a 59 VW, you know, lowered, polished 5-spoke MPs, chromed out motor and shit, right? So that was my first car as a, you know, low rider fucking VW Bug that's SoCal style, Southern California, a low rider style and shit, right? So that was my first car. So I really like the Bugs. And then the Miami Vice guys. I totally know their names too. I mean, I know their real names and shit, but I was trying to think of their names on the show. I know their names on the show too. Crockett and Tubbs. Yeah, Crockett and Tubbs and shit, right? Yeah, so the Miami Vice guys, it's just a cool card of Crockett and Tubbs and shit, right? So it's just like a couple of those. Just some different shit, stuff that's out there and shit. Then this was just recently I'd bought a box of Prism, the current Prism. And so this is one of the cards I got in there because he was doing really good. And he even with that bad knee, that Sam Laporta, but it's a rookie, and I don't care about the patch and shit stuff, but I know other people do. But I like the green pulsar and shit, right? But it was one of the cards I pulled out of there. I bought a mega box and a blaster box and shit, So it was probably worth a few bucks and shit. I don't know. But it's a card that maybe it's got some potential and shit too and shit. We'll see in the future and shit. So there's that. And then so now these are just the cards. Like I said, I showed you that Chipper Jones. This is going to be a lot of the cards. And the last time where I was pulling cards out of the when I was pulling cards out of the tub, these are the cards I was pulling out of there. So this is what I'm saying is like all these cards, and they're not really valuable cards, but they're just cool cards and shit, right? But there's the kind of thing I just had sitting around. It was like when you got cards and stuff, a lot of times you kind of just got shit sitting around that you don't even know what you got and shit, right? So these are some of the cards that I pulled out. So this was says Destination Tampa. So I'm assuming that the Super Bowl was in Tampa this year. So there's a Keyshawn Johnson. Because I think, didn't Keyshawn Johnson, was he on Tampa when they won the Super Bowl? Because I'm thinking now, did he play on Tampa? Did he play? And I'm like thinking, did he play there when they won the Super Bowl? Because that would be kind of interesting too. And I'm thinking if Keyshawn did play for Tampa, I'd have to remember that. I think he did for some reason. I'm not sure though. That would be kind of interesting though, with this one saying Destination Tampa and shit on it, right? So it's just, just some cool cards that I pulled out. So let's see what we got. So there's a Flair Mystique, Randy Moss. This one's not a refractor, but it was just a somewhat early Randy Moss on a card that's it's a cool looking card and shit. And so this was another Destination Tampa. This was with Brett Favre. This has some kind of refractor on it. Right. So these are just cards, like I said, I was just pulling them out. Now this was okay, it's a metal. It says the metal there. It's like all these cards too. I don't remember, like, because I haven't looked at them. So, it's Skybox metal. But it was also the green on here. I think it might have been a Alfonso Soriano rookie. I know he was great when he was young, and then I know stuff later in his career, shit went bad for him, and I don't know. But he was a really good player, Alfonso. But I think this green one, it was a cool looking card though. I think the green one was a little bit more special too when I tried to check to see. Oh, this was hilarious. This I thought was really funny because AIH Sports, he was showing, like, on one of his live streams, he was showing a bunch of presidential cards, and then I pulled out, I was like, oh, look, I got a couple presidential cards with the refractors, right? These Topps Chrome, it's a presidential pastime, right? This one I thought was super funny and super cool. It's a super cool card, right? But this is Chester A. Arthur, right? So when I say Chester A. Arthur, his name should resonate to a lot of you people out there where he's famous from, which I'm not going to say it. If you guys want to comment down on the bottom of it and stuff and tell me, where do you know Chester A. Arthur from, right? And I'll give you a clue. He's 21 of 42. What's 21 of 42? What's 21 of 42? Right? So there's that. So I really like that Chester A. Arthur shit. I thought that was really cool. So I had two of the presidential cards. This is a John Adams. The cool cards. It's like, fuck, I'd like to have this whole fucking set. Right? It's one of these things when you see it like that, it's like, dude, wonder how much those would be to have like the whole set of the presidential pastime cards on these Topps Chrome refractor thing, It's like, those are cool. I was like, I'd like that. But I only had two of them. I had two of them and stuff that I was able to pull out of the box of cards I got. This is Irvin Santana. Yeah, Irvin Santana, which might be a rookie. I'm not sure. Like I'm not positive and stuff, right? But it was a refractor. And it might have been his rookie. I know he was good when he was young and stuff, but I don't know. I know he had some good years, but I don't know how his career turned out. Like one of those things I don't know. This is Troy Gloss. Troy Gloss refractor when he was with the Angels. And then, like, if I can remember, I think if it was Troy Gloss, maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking about the first baseman. So I was thinking, did he go to the Texas Rangers and then go to the Yankees? But maybe that was the first baseman that was with the Angels I'm thinking of, because I think he played third base. It says third base. So I'm not sure. But he was good. I know Troy Gloss was good. He was with the Angels and shit. And Trevor Hoffman. That card's awesome too in the black refractor. Fucking Trevor Hoffman. Trevor Hoffman was one of the best relief pitchers and shit. So that was sick. I love that black card too. It fucking looks sick. It's really cool. Like I said, these are cards that I had that I didn't even know I had. And I went searching through. It was like one of those things. It's like, okay, let me go fucking find these cards and shit, right? I love this year, the look of the card there with the black and stuff like that. I know it's like a I don't know, 71 tops or something. I think has that black. It's something like that and shit. When I was young, I had bought at the card shop. I bought 100 cards from like 71 and 74. You know, so I had the Thurman Munson Trophy card that was in this year. That was one of the cards that I got in there in the pack. You know, it probably wasn't in the greatest shape, but it was cool to have it. Like later on when I went back and looked and understood, well, there's a Thurman Munson in there and shit, right? I think that was cool for the guy that was because he was the card shop that I had that was in my town, that was the old guy. He was an old guy with an old style card shop, right? And so he had like those packs. And then, so after I learned more, I was like, that's cool that he put a Thurman Munson in that because it was $10 for it was 100 cards from 1971 or 100 cards from 1974. Those were the two packs that I had bought, and they were just $10 a piece, you know. And I can go back and look. I remember I had a Thurman Munson was in there, even if it wasn't in the best condition. That was just a cool card to get and shit, right? This is Edgar Martinez. Refractor, the gold I think is a little more rare than some of the other colors. I think the gold was like a little. I don't think it's numbered. Yeah, but he was a really good hitter and shit. I don't know if he made the Hall of Fame and stuff, but he deserved to be. He was a really good hitter. And yeah, so Edgar Martinez, the gold refractor and shit, right? Like I said, these are just cards I had just sitting around and shit, right? And I pulled them out and shit, right? So we'll take a look at them, we'll show them off and stuff. This set here, it's like Onyx or Ionics and shit. It's like all the cards are like kind of like refractors cards and shit, right? But they're not valuable. I think all of them are refractors. I don't know. These are all the sets when I wasn't collecting, and now when I go back, and the reason I have this because I bought the whole tub of cards. I didn't collect these cards. This was my neighbor, total loser neighbor I had, and one day he says, "Hey, you like cards?" And I went over and looked. This big tub of cards. All the cards were in folders, all in sleeves and folders. So there was a bunch of folders in this big tub, right? And he said $80. And I just picked it up and took it to my house, and I went and got the money and brought it back to him and shit. But I was like, yeah, I'll take that for $80. I don't know what's in there. I'll take it though. Right? But so these are all the cards that were in there, right? These are the cards I'm showing you that there was all kinds of stuff like that, right? So any Barry Bonds like that, it's just, it's probably only, I know I checked on some of the stuff there. I don't think they're valuable. I think they're only worth like a couple dollars, but it's like, dude, look at the kind of cards you can get for like a couple dollars and shit, right? Super fucking cool cards and shit, right? Just cool to have. You don't have to have all this money and shit. Cards can be just fucking cool and shit, right? So Pedro Martinez, some Skybox Permanence, Pedro Martinez, just cool cards, right? They're just cool. I don't need them slabbed. They don't got to be valuable for me to freaking really like them and shit. They're just fucking cool cards. This is it says it's a Vernon Wells. I think it says rookie on this one. Oh yeah, right. Rookie class of 2000. Vernon Wells. It looks like Bowman Chrome. So that's card. I would think off the top of my head, you would think that's got to be like $10 or something, but maybe not. I don't know. But I know I looked at some of these stuff. I didn't see anything that was really being worth money when I was looking stuff up. But I'm not sure how much I do. But I would think it's probably just like $5 or $10, something like that. But a cool card. It's just cool to have it. Just cool to have cards in personal. This one too. It's like this is that Ionics set again. There was a bunch of cool. Every time I saw the Ionics set, all the cards that are in there, bunch of cool cards. But it looks like they're all kind of common, so they're kind of like base cards. I don't know. This is like Awesome Powers. Oh, so it's like Austin Powers, but it says Awesome Powers is what it's playing on, and it's a Sammy Sosa. So, just cool, just a really fucking cool card. Something that you can probably get for like a couple dollars and shit, right? Which is amazing, like how cheap these cards can actually be and stuff. It's one of the warnings that you could tell the people. It's like, dude, you really got to understand that scarcity, cards got to be rare. You have to have the really good players, plus you need the card to be rare if you want to have a valuable collectible. If you're collecting for yourself, buy as cheap as you can. And if you're collecting to think that something's going to be valuable, you better know what the fuck you're doing, because it's not that easy. Like I say, you can look at all these cards; they're cheap. They're very, very cheap cards and shit. That looks like another Sammy Sosa, higher level, Skybox. I like these cards just knowing that these cards were out there all those times that when I wasn't collecting and shit. It was like, man, there was a bunch of cool cards out there. It looks like Ken Griffey Jr. Let's see, it's that brand, that Ionics brand, whatever it is. They're all like refractors and shit, right? And it's like, and there's like almost like hologram. It's almost like hologram, like 3D, like the way that card is. Just a super fucking cool Griffey card. I mean, like I said, it's probably worth $2 to $5 maybe. I don't think it's worth a lot of money and shit, right? But fuck, imagine what it would look like in a slab. It would look like a valuable fucking card, I would think, but it's not. It's not. I don't think they're valuable. I think they're kind of common and shit, right? But they're. Oh, so I got two of those. Oh, big time. Got two of those. There's another Griffey. See again that brand, Ionics brand. Griffey Jr. Just super cool. Like I imagine I would have fucking loved these cards if I was collecting like in the 90s and shit or whatever when these cards were. I would have thought they were fucking. I mean, I love them now and shit. I would have thought they were super cool. Here's a Edgerrin James, Destination Tampa. It's like I was saying, there must have been the Super Bowl must have been in Tampa that year. That's why they're all Destination Tampa, is what I'm assuming. You know, it's like, why else would they fucking do it like that? There's another Edgerrin James, Destination Tampa. Those. Like I said, one day I was just pulling cards out. These are like I have all these fucking cards were in there and shit, right? This is Scott Rowland, and I believe he just got recently. I think it was last year he got elected to the Hall of Fame. I loved the Cardinals when they had Scott Rowland and Jim Edmonds and Albert Pujols and shit, and the pitchers like Carpenter and shit, and I don't know the fucking other guy, but yeah, they were good. That was good. Cardinals team. I used to make money betting on them all the time. They were definitely, I would bet the Cardinals a lot back then. But yeah, so getting a Scott Rowland refractor and shit, to me, it doesn't need to be a rookie or anything. It's just because I just like the card and shit, right? For me, super happy to have it. It's Ray Allen Bucks, this smooth. There's like a little glitter that goes across it. You can't, it's really hard to see though. There is some other little glitter on there too. This is smooth. And I think it's an early Ray Allen and shit because he's on the Bucks. It was crazy because he was more dynamic when he was young. You know, he would drive to the hole and shit, right? And then he just turned into a just straight fucking 3-point shooter, basically. You know, but I know he hit that big shot. Oh, this was a base, but it was an early. It might have been the first year of David Ortiz on the Red Sox. I mean, it says there it's all twins. There's only 1 year on the Red Sox. So it could be, but I don't know if it's his first or second year, the card, whatever. But it was David Ortiz on the Red Sox card. It's a chrome card. That's one of the things about, like, it doesn't have to be a refractor. The chrome cards themselves are just really cool cards. And for me, having a David Ortiz on the Red Sox, shit. And I think this, like I was saying, this might be more valuable than all the other ones. There might be this one that's the one that's not the refractor. This might be the most valuable. That might be the most valuable one out of all of those cards. It's funny how this shit works and shit, right? This card's really cool. See, this one's like the stars too, like how they have the stars, the purple stars and shit. This is a Mark McGwire. It says Star View. But if you can see, it's got like the stars in there, like the Pokemon kind of stars or like the purple stars that you get on the cards and shit. So it has those stars on it. Really cool looking card. Just fucking really cool. Right? So like I said, these cards were just all in there. I just started pulling them out. This one is Barry Larkin. Love that one with the red and shit too. It just looks so good with the red and the white of the uniform. Looks so good. And having a Barry Larkin fucking refractor, like I said, any of these refractors, I was stoked when I was pulling these out. And I was like, damn. And they don't need to be rookies for me to just really enjoy it. I just like, shit, okay, I got a Barry Larkin refractor. I didn't know I had this and shit. Pulled it out. Doesn't need to be rookie and shit because this is my only Barry Larkin refractor and shit, right? And it looks so fucking cool, right? I mean, that card is just a beautiful fucking card, right? And this is cool. Oh, this is just not it's not a refractor, but it's a Dontrelle Willis, and it's got the rookie cup on there. So might be his rookie year. It's definitely something like that, whatever. But he was really good when he was young and shit, right? But it is chrome card and shit, right? The Don Chovas might be his rookie, but it's a really cool card. He was good when he was young and he was really hyped and shit. But I don't think his career really played out much and shit, right? And then here's a David Eckstein refractor with that style, just really cool looking card. Yeah, so I had fun when I went through and pulling out all these cards. It was fine to find this stuff. Oh, this is this is a card that's like because I'm pretty sure Flippin' Steve is a big Cal Ripken Jr. fan, right? So this is a card that's not worth a lot of money and shit. This is the kind of card that's like you just give to your friend if your friend's a collector and shit, you know. You just be like, and you find it, be like, here, take this one and shit, right? How cool and shit, right? What a cool looking card. When I seen it, it's like you see these cards and it's like, dude, that's got to be worth money, right? But then you look it up and it's like, nah, it's $5 or something. You know, it's not really valuable. Super cool though. Super fucking cool card. What a cool looking card. Just really cool. A lot of cool shit like that. And this was when I first bought the big tub of cards. The first cards that, or actually not this one. This was the bench sheets because I think I pulled them out too. Let me. No, I thought it was. Maybe I left those in the because I remember when I first looked at the cards, the first thing was there was a Bowman chrome like this, and I had a Roy Oswalt, and a, I can't remember the other guy's name right now. Victor Zambrano for the Cubs and shit. I had their rookies in this year too. And it looks like, yeah, this is a rookie. So this was a Ben Sheets Bowman Chrome rookie. I think I got two of those. Yeah, there's another one. Yeah, neither one of them are refractors though. They're just Bowman Chrome rookies. It should have been Sheets. I had a couple of those here. And we got Destination Tampa with Eddie George. And we got Numbers Game with Troy Aikman. Some Flair Mystique refractor kind of thing. So just cool. They're just cool cards and shit, you know. I had another one of those Randy Moss Mystique cards, but not refractor. But it was still early. Yeah, it says on this on the back it's only got 2 years, so it's hard for me to see the year. It looks like it's 99 or 2000. Yeah, so that's still early in this. That's early in his career. Well, this is one of those acetate cards. You can see through it, right? So you can see the white on the back. Okay, so this is a Skybox Thunder turbocharged with Vladimir Guerrero. It's like an acetate card. He was fucking awesome. Vladimir Guerrero was fucking he's exactly like the kind of baseball player. It's like, dude, you'd want that guy. He might make it like if I was building a team, it's like, dude, and it's like if somebody said, okay, well, you have to start with Vlad Guerrero, you can't make your pick. I'd be like, fine, okay, I'll take fucking Vladimir Guerrero and shit. This one, they are Rabu. They have these pitchers that were coming over from Japan and shit, the different guys and shit, right? I think when he came over, he was really hyped up, right? But super fucking cool looking card, right? The Pinnacle. And I don't know if he really played out how good his career was and stuff. But it was like those guys were coming over and there's a few of them. I get them confused and stuff. Some of the different ones and stuff, right? But I think when he came over, he was really like because they were all hyped up. All those guys that come over usually are, but just a really cool looking fucking card. Again, I don't know. I don't think it's worth a lot of money and shit. This one is Jason Kidd. Some kind of. There we go. If you can see that, it's got a. Behind there's a Jason Kidd like photo behind it, and then it's got him there. It's a really cool looking card if you can see that. And then what does it say? It's pyrotechnics. Yeah, there's like these little, I don't know if they're fire signals, but there's like the picture of him behind there in the refractor with the picture on top of it. Again, there's that Ionics brand. Whatever that brand is, they just made cool cards. Like all the cards I'd seen, they're all like refractor type of cards and stuff. It seems like a premier type of card, but when I looked them up, they weren't valuable and stuff. Is this the one that was numbered? Yeah, this is the kind of shit that pisses me off. Okay, this is a Ionics brand again. There's that Ionics brand. Okay, and I believe this is a Lamar Odom rookie. Lamar Odom had a good career, and he's had some stuff. He almost died in the Vegas brothel. He's got that story and shit, you know. But this was numbered. This card was numbered 360 out of 3,500, right? And I looked it up. This card was worth like $1. It's Upper Deck. So Upper Deck makes that Ionics shit. Yeah. Yeah, so I looked it up and this card's a numbered Lamar Odom rookie and it's worth like $1 and shit. It's like, what the fuck, man? This fucking shit's weird. That's a cool looking card too. So A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez. Sometimes they don't reflect, they shine in little different ways. They're a little tricky and shit, right? But it kind of sparkles a little bit. It's another like acetate card, and this one, yeah, this was numbered. I was gonna say, is this numbered? Because I remember some of the cards. Was this an acetate card? Yeah, kind of. It looks like acetate. I can see through it. Yeah. So this one's actually numbered 45 out of 78. He's got. I'm looking at his stats there. It says like Diamondbacks, Rockies, Padres, but the games played are only like 19, 19, 19, 19, 19. It's not very much and shit, right? He's not playing like, he doesn't look like he was any kind of real starter until he went to the Dodgers and shit, you know? But yeah, I got this. So it's got to be some kind of, it's probably the first year with the Dodgers. I don't know if this would be considered a rookie card and shit. I don't think it is. But it'd probably be a first year with the Dodgers and shit. I know he had some good years. He was a decent player with the Dodgers, but it was a numbered card and shit. Like I said again, I don't think it's worth much and shit. You know, just some cool cards. This Larry Walker. This was a green like that other Alfonso Soriano. The green I think was a little bit more special in the green of this kind of version of card. But it's a cool looking card. And Larry Walker was really good. Did he just make it into the Hall of Fame too? I think people were complaining. I think he made it in, and they were complaining because he was with the Rockies and shit. I'm not positive and shit because if there was other, but I think he did. It's cool. Emmitt Smith. Any of the Emmitt Smith type of refractor stuff to me is just that shit's really cool. Emmitt Smith totally underrated. Definitely underrated. He was fucking consistent. And when you see his rushing record, like nobody's ever going to touch his. Nobody's going to get close to his. That's one of those records. It's like, dude, it's going to be up there forever and ever and ever. Nobody's going to ever get even close to that again and shit, to his all-time rushing yards record and shit. And he was great. Won Super Bowls and shit, dude. I remember he had that big game. There was one of those playoff games where he had like a broken collarbone or something like that. And dude, he went in there and fucking slammed into motherfuckers and balled out, dude. It was like, god damn. I was also saying he's underrated, dude. That motherfucker is gangster and shit, right? And I got some of these. They're not refractors, but these are more like rookies. But Steve Smith's on the left there. Steve Smith was one hell of a fucking receiver. Tough as fuck, too. A fucking gangster from LA and shit. LA gangster and shit. Fucking Steve Smith's gangster and shit. One hell of a receiver, dude. Steve Smith. I think I got two of those. Yeah, so Steve Smith, he was fucking awesome. Great receiver. This is just some other cards I have in that stack. This is not recent stuff. This is my Michael Jackson. This is the Dean Russo set. It's a Dean Russo 2012 Aquarius set. Dean Russo playing cards, and in there, the Michael Jackson is one of them. This is what all the cards look like. This set of cards, it's the best set of cards I've ever seen. It's every single card, like the Three of Hearts. It's every card. Every card has some kind of picture of somebody famous on there like this, right? But I have got like 50 of the Michael Jackson. I got like 50 of the Michael Jackson ones and shit, right? I got a bunch of those. I got like 50 of those for really cheap because the guy, it was like one of those deals. The person, if you get all of them and shit, then you don't have to pay the shipping and shit. You get real cheap shipping. And so I got a really good deal on that. So there's more of those Emmitt Smiths. Got some more of those ones. So I got another one that looks like here too. Another Emmitt Smith. And then you saw Michael. So there's just more of those. I got more of those Michael Jacksons. Maybe I didn't get 50. I got like 20 something or something like that. I don't remember how many I got. But I remember when the guy had a deal. I got them all. I was able to get a good fucking deal. I think maybe I got 20 for like $50, something like that. I don't know what it was, something like that. But I got them all. Okay, so there's a lot more here. I can start pulling out shit and show you guys some more. There's so much more stuff I have and stuff. And but yeah, I just thought I'd go through and show you guys some cards and talk some shit and stuff, right? Have a good little live stream while it's raining and shit, right? But that's good. We've been on here long enough. I don't know how long it's been, but it seems like too long and shit, right? So I'm gonna shut this down. That was fun, guys, and we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye bye.